Call to order the meeting for March 20th, 2018. Could everyone please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance? I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, can I get a roll call, please?
Larry Armstrong, John Douglas, Michael Howry,
Here.
Michelle Hayes,
Here.
Gene Sensi.
Here.
And can I get approval of the agenda, please?
So moved.
I'll second.
Any questions or comments? Roll call?
Michael Howry,
Yes.
Michelle Hayes,
Yes.
Gene Sensi.
Yes.
Vote is 3-0.
Okay, approval of the minutes from February 6, 2018.
So moved.
Second.
Questions or comments? Roll call?
Michelle Hayes,
Yes.
Gene Sensi,
Yes.
Michael Howry.
Yes.
Vote is 3-0.
Okay, and also for the meetings from the regular meeting from February 20th of 2018.
So moved.
I'll second.
And questions or comments? Roll call?
Gene Sensi,
Yes.
Michael Howry,
Yes.
Michelle Hayes.
Yes.
Vote is 3-0.
Okay, and we're on to board member reports. Do either of you have anything you'd like to report on?
I have none.
No, I was just very thankful that so many students are accepted into Ohio State, and that's just awesome. I was talking to one of the proud fathers, and he couldn't be more pleased, and of course, there's all good things to say about Madison schools, so that's what we like to hear.
Okay. I did want to talk just briefly about two things that I attended. One was the state legislative conference. It was the first one, the OSBA conference that they put on. It's the first one that I've been able to attend. And I actually sat next to Senator Eklund at lunch.
Oh.
And I was telling Mike that he made a statement to the table that he felt that anything that was state mandated should be funded completely by the state. So I immediately jumped on that, and
And I know where you are going.
would that happen to be special education
Yes, I think
costs?
so.
Yes, indeed. But I'm a little disappointed now because he never knew anything about it. He was going to look into it. But then come to find out from Mike that Mike's also had that conversation with him.
I as well have had that conversation with
I've
him.
never heard that.
So I was
I would not mean that to
encouraged
be
while I
next.
was there, but now I'm feeling relatively discouraged to find out that he has already been approached. Probably, if both of you have approached him, I'm certain there's been many, many, many more school officials that have approached him about that. So that's a little discouraging to me. Something, in fact, I have it in my phone. Something that I also thought was encouraging was Representative Patterson from Ashtabula. He gave a long speech, and I really liked him. But one of the things he said was for the first time, we, meaning the state of Ohio, are looking at safety and mental health and the base cost of educating a student. I thought that was encouraging. And I know that there are some bills they had talked to us about that have to do with mental health training. Also one about school resource officers. It's my understanding that they're not going to make them mandatory as of yet, but for those that have them, they're going to make some mandatory standard training so that they all, and although the bill as it stands right now does not have any additional funds in it, he also made the statement that he felt that there should be funding attached to that bill as well. But, and I will be honest, I don't understand the whole legislative process. You know, they're saying we have to introduce it this way and then we'll add on to it here, and, you know, the bill will continue to, grow and
Yeah,
evolve,
it does
exactly.
evolve. And they add amendments, and it's a very In the hearings I've been down to, the last hearing I went before Christmas, they actually added amendments and they were arguing over little words in the Senate Education Committee that would then go back out to conference and to legislative affairs before it could be voted on by the whole Senate, so.
And then there was regarding and I understand that we're gonna do something tonight, about the House Bill 512.
Yes.
But the man who is sponsoring it was there, and I did have to give him credit. I did speak to him afterwards and told him I appreciated him coming. He had to know that it was not going to be a popular room for him. He took a lot of heat. I did disagree with most of what he had to say, and I did tell him that, but I also thanked him for coming because it did take a lot of courage to sit in that room knowing that he was not going to be a popular person. And then the second thing I attended was Cleveland Rape Crisis Center put on a forum, workshop, whatever you want to call it, at Jefferson High School. And that was far better than any of them. It was regarding sex trafficking. Human trafficking, not just sex trafficking, although it did focus mostly on the sex trafficking. It was far more informative than any of the ones that I have attended through SBA. It was also a very heartbreaking thing. And I took a lot of notes. I'm not going to go through all of it, but something that stood out is they said that 1 in 4 girls and 1 in 6 boys will be sexually assaulted before the age of 18. And, what they've said in all of these, I've gone to several of these types of trainings over the years when we've been down at OSBA in Columbus. And what they've always said, and this one said the same thing, is where there is heroin, there is human trafficking. And they are seeing a lot of it in Ashtabula now, which is why Cleveland Rape Crisis Center now has a branch in Ashtabula. They talked again about Toledo in Ohio, Toledo being the 4th highest city in the country, and that the average age of entering into trafficking is 12 to 14. And this was sad and eye-opening. Where most kids are approached is at school. It is another child, a friend, that is involved in it. And their, boyfriend, pimp is what they call them, is having them, get the other girls involved in it. And it's, and they went on to say that it happens at church. There was a case of it happening in a church in Toledo. It's everywhere. So it was very eye-opening. I brought a packet back with me if anybody wants to see it. And they've offered, they said that they'll go anywhere to put on these types of seminars. So I think it's something that, we've talked about it several times. Each time I sit in one of these sessions, we end up talking about it, but, so, yeah. Okay. President is here. Do you have any board member reports? Because that's what we're on. And I've talked too long, so.
I think our 6:30 thing has hit me for the first time when we have changed the board meetings from 6:30 to 6. So my mistake.
Oh, that's okay.
I apologize.
Well, we chose to get things started so that you could be home for your wife's birthday.
Oh, yes, I appreciate that.
All right, we're on public participation.
Oh, the agenda's up here. This is the stuff to sign.
Yes.
Okay.
So we're on to the first public participation.
All right, we'd like to begin the first public participation section on agenda items only. If anyone would like to address the board, if you could stand and state your name and address. All right, seeing none. Reports and recommendations of the treasurer.
Thank you. I just have one item to pass out prior to getting to the items on the agenda. We are the fiscal agents for the Lake County Schools Council, and as part of being the fiscal agent, we are audited every year. And for the second year in a row, we've earned the Auditor of State Award for excellence in financial reporting. So while this board isn't the board of that organization, it is your employees that are carrying out the work that is being audited. So I just thought I would pass that out and hope to keep getting that year after year. It's something we could get here in this district, but again, we don't file our financial statements on the generally accepted accounting principles because it's too costly to make that conversion. For the school district, it would cost somewhere between $12,000 and $18,000 to do the conversion from cash to general accepted accounting principles for the consortium. It's $700 because it's just a much smaller organization. So clean audit there. Again, we had a clean audit for the school district except for that mention of not filing on GAAP and those minor issues with food service. So I think I've already reported that to the board. So if there's no questions on that, I'll move on to the 3 items on the agenda.
Congratulations.
Thank you. The first is looking for approval of the financial reports for all funds, the fund-to-fund transfer report, and the check payment register for February 2018.
Is there a motion?
So moved.
I'll second.
Any discussion? Roll call?
Sean Douglas,
Yes?
Michael Howery,
Yes.
Michelle Hayes,
Yes?
Gene Sensi,
Yes.
vote is 4-0. The next is to accept a generous donation of $50 from Mr. and Mrs. William Solar to Madison North Elementary School to be used to purchase maker space supplies, and a generous donation of $1,000 from the Asbill family to the Project Unify Scholarship.
Any discussion? Motion? Okay, any discussion?
Thank you very much to Mr. and Mrs. Solar and the Asbell family. Thank you.
Thank you. Roll call?
Michael Howery,
Yes.
Michelle Hayes,
Yes?
Gene Sensi,
Yes.
Sean Douglas,
Yes.
vote is 4-0. And the next item, while it's a lengthy resolution, basically boils down to the OASBO Section 457 plan only allowed Voya to be a representative. This acts equitable in. So a resolution approving the revisions to the OASBO Section 457 plan.
I'll move.
Second.
Any discussion? Roll call?
Gene Sensi,
Yes.
Sean Douglas,
Yes.
Michael Howery,
Yes.
Michelle Hayes.
Yes?
Vote is 4-0. And that's all I have tonight. Thank you.
Report to the administrative team?
Okay, well, we had a busy month with the safety meetings after our last board meeting that we followed up at each of the different buildings and had some very productive conversation. And then shortly after that, I was down for a little over a week and a half with a nasty kidney stone, so my next task to follow up with these meetings is to put the FAQs on the website, and after spring break, try to schedule the student meetings at both the high school and the middle school to talk about some of the things we talked about in the safety meetings with the parents. I think the questions were diverse, and people are really centered on this topic, and lots of good ideas. We've had a couple parents that want to step up and be a part of the safety committee as a result of those meetings. So I think there's some, out of a horrible situation has come some good, productive dialogue in order to keep our students safe. I had a conversation with Chief Byers today, and they are looking at their responses to active shooter between the police departments and the SRO, and then they will bring their revisions to me, which then we would bring revisions to our safety plan once they decide on some of the changes that they want to make. He was in Geneva today, because Geneva's going to do a full-scale drill in May, and that is something that we're looking to do in Madison potentially next year. So I'm going to try and see if I can observe that drill when it's happening. I have to say that the partnership with our local police department has been, both the township and the village, has been just tremendous. And the leadership from our SROs, especially Officer Caswell, in, you know, looking at our safety plans has been outstanding. So, you know, unfortunately, yeah, there was another shooting today in Maryland in a school, and, you know, I think there's a lot of things going on in the nation regarding this topic, and kids are speaking up, adults are speaking up, the legislature, both at the state and in Congress, are starting to look at where to put resources. So all we can do is hope that they put the resources where they need to be, and the big piece of it is in that mental health piece. I mean, you know, I know there's a lot of talk about gun control, but I've shared with this board consistently, I think, throughout the year, the fact that mental health is a huge, huge piece of this. And, you know, we need to find ways and resources to continue to support our students so that they feel safe and, you know, are able to achieve in the classroom. Because at the end of the day, that is our business. We are here to educate our students. I will say that we have taken every student situation very seriously. I have to tell you, I have met with more students since February 14th because they're testing some limits, and we're holding meetings, and they're, you know, when kids are saying things, we're holding them accountable because we have to keep our students and our staff safe. Anybody, if you have questions? Okay.
No, I thought you did an excellent job. I think your administrative staff, you know, the local police, I would just echo that. I mean, I think, Sean, you did a great job, very professionally introducing everything and setting the stage. I couldn't be prouder of the cooperation between the school system and the police department, so I just wanted to second that.
In that school shooting today, it sounds like the school resource officer was the one who intervened and stopped that from going any further, which is the exact scenario that we have here in Madison, where we have a school resource officer in our elementary, middle, and high school buildings. So, I'm glad that we have that. Seems to be our best defense.
Yeah. And the communication. Our kids speak up, and that's important. As long as they continue to speak up, and as long as people keep their eyes open, we're going to do everything in our power to keep our kids safe. On a happier note, Project Unify was last week, and that was my first day back in the office, and Rachel Collins and Emma Burkholder did an outstanding job, especially after it was postponed. How many times, Alexa?
Fifth, that was the fifth.
That was the fifth time. Yeah. 2 of them snow days. And it was an amazing, amazing event. And the Sea of Green and the support for the kids, and there's videos all over Facebook, and there's a video on our webpage, and we had that amazing 3-point shot. It was just, the energy that morning was just so positive. The kids did a great job. And it really is a student-led activity.
So in the end, by happenstance, Project Unify ended up lining up with the student walkout day.
It did.
And so we did not have any kids walking out that day. Instead, they walked into Project Unify
They
and
did.
celebrated our
They
students
did.
with disabilities.
And there were no students told that they couldn't walk out. So I drove around the whole high school, and I thought at 10 o'clock, I didn't know what I was gonna see, and they were busy getting ready for that day, and the energy of that morning and those kids. Oh, we also had a prom proposal during it, and it was just so great. Yeah. Really awesome morning.
Did the prom proposal work out? Was
It
it a
did,
yes? All right,
yes, it
good.
was a yes.
Trenton knows what's good for him.
'Cause, yeah, Rocky's not gonna take no for an answer. Tomorrow is the All Boards Breakfast in Chesterland. I think Jean and Mike are going, and I'll be there. We also have 10 kids going to the part afterwards to hear Ramona Robinson, and she's gonna, she's from Channel 19, and she's gonna talk about her pet projects related to kids and education, so. And she's also the speaker for your luncheon.
I know.
So
She's been around Lake County a lot.
you're gonna know her speech well. Spring activities after break are coming fast and furious. We will try and keep you apprised of all the events as they happen in the weekly newsletter, because it's going to go fast. I did happen to miss my favorite event of the year when I was out sick, was National Honor Society. I do love that event. I love the breakfast. I love the induction. But Fish stepped up for me, and he had his pin. I always wear my pin from high school on that day. Shannon was really impressed, Shannon Kriegmont, that Fish still had his pin. I said, I still have mine. She goes, I don't know where I'd have to find mine. So, but it was, I understand, a very nice event. Sean, did you want to add to it? You were there, so.
It was very nice. I had not been to it before. It was my first time, so went very smoothly, and Mr. Fisher did a great job welcoming everybody, or actually ending the program, and so it was great.
Last night was kindergarten registration. Tonight you can see the crowd out there. That's preschool registration. They are trying the online registration tonight. I think they have 30 Chromebooks set up to have people do the online registration for the first time. Kindergarten registration, we had 129 families. So that's about where we were last year at this time. So that would look to be, I'm venturing around a class of 200 again. And then what always happens, because we don't have all-day kindergarten, is that class grows into first grade. We gained, I think, between the kindergarten class from last year into first grade, another 20, 25 kids because of the all-day kindergarten factor. In fact, last night we had a family walk out. Well, this isn't all day, and they walked out. So I guess they're gonna go look for an all-day program. But we did have 129, and every year we play the video that was done several years ago with our some of our former teachers, one of them being Janice Cassidy, and it's always a wonderful memorial to Janice and her legacy to see her on that tape and her voice. And it
I
is-
thought about her today. Forever Young, a Rod Stewart song was
Yeah.
playing on the radio. And when my daughter was in kindergarten, and she made a video for the kindergartners, for all the families, and the song that she used was Forever Young on that video. And it made me think of her, and that it was played at the kindergarten picnic, and she did a wonderful job on the video. Yeah.
Mike Smith was honored over the weekend with the Bob Arzen Award, and that's from OHSSA at the state basketball tournament for his 20 years of service in one district as a coach. As you know, we earlier honored him this year for his 300th career victory also this season. So it's been a career season for Mike in that way. And lastly, I've got two things that are on the agenda that I want to talk about. One of them is the House Bill 512, and that is we have a resolution that I'm asking you to approve that opposes combining the Ohio Department of Education, the Department of Higher Education, and Workforce Development into one agency. There are many, many reasons, but from an educator perspective, the ODE in and of itself is quite the bureaucracy. You bring those three agencies together, I don't know what's going to happen. But it also really politicizes those agencies because those agencies then would report directly to the governor. They would still have to have a state board, but it would be mostly a figurehead board and they really wouldn't have any power. There are all sorts of articles that have been around in the last week. One of them has talked about the governor wanting to do this because he didn't get his choice for state superintendent, and I don't know, but all I know is that right now, I still have an email to ODE that I sent, probably 6 to 8 weeks ago, and no one answered. So I do believe that putting more to that whole governing structure would not be good for our students, would not be good for our staff, would not be good for anyone in the state of Ohio. So I know OSBA has sent out some literature. BASA, my organization has sent out literature. Mike's organization has sent out literature. They're all in, support of opposition to this bill. And the hearings have been quite crowded down there. Of all the education hearings they have, and like we were talking about a little bit before the meeting, they've got all sorts of bills going on right now. This has had wall-to-wall, standing room only, hours of testimony, and people opposing this.
At that conference that I went to, that I talked a little bit about earlier, that was the one that had the representative who was basically being fed to the wolves. He is sponsoring the bill, and he came to talk to us, and there was not one person in that room that was in support of that bill. And again, I did thank him for coming, as it was, he had to know that he was not going to be popular in that room. But yeah, so I didn't see it. And the other representatives that were there were also very vocal about not supporting the bill as well. Patterson was not in support of it. Lerner, is that her name?
Right.
Yeah, she was not in support of it. The only one that was in support of it was the one that was sponsoring it.
Didn't you say, Angela, in your newsletter to us, though, that it seems to be fast-tracked?
Yeah, they're trying to fast track because the governor would like to have this done, and how many months left is he in office? So, yeah,
Well-
he's 9 months left in office.
And it's funny you say that, because it was funny because Lerner had called out, I think his name is Renke, I don't remember how to pronounce it. She had called him out on the carpet in front of everybody and said, "We know this came out of the governor's office. When we hear nothing about it, and then all of a sudden it's on the floor and you're sponsoring it, we know where it came from." She was very vocal about her displeasure over it.
So, I haven't heard a lot, but a group of emails that was going around from the cohort I'm involved in with the Ohio School Leadership Institute, somebody said, "I don't think it has much traction. I don't think it's going to get out of the House, but we need to make sure it's killed before it even gets there." So, the overwhelming, every single one, there's 32 of us in that cohort, and I think every single one of us responded yesterday that email that either their board had passed the resolution or was going to pass the resolution opposing it. So, all right, and the last thing that I want to do, and I never do this, but you need to indulge me, and I am going to read a retirement resignation. I know, you just got to live with it. It's my floor. But I believe that after her 51 years of service, and you're going to be voting on this a little later, I wanted to read the letter. Dear Mrs. Smith and Board of Education, I sincerely appreciate the opportunity to have served as an educator in the Madison Local School District. In first grade, I decided I wanted to teach first grade. Teaching students to read, write, and believe in themselves is rewarding. Your belief in me as a leader at North Madison Elementary and North Elementary challenged me to extend my knowledge, skills, and appreciation of administrative duties. I continue to have the passion to help students achieve to their potential and challenge staff to meet the needs of all students. However, I feel it is time to do so in another way. I respectfully ask you to accept my resignation at the end of this 2017-18 school year. Sincerely, Sally Jo Rogas.
Thank you.
Now, we didn't say we were accepting that, right?
I'm just reading it. It's up for a vote. You can pull it out of action.
It's a nice thought, but
Sally, we know you won't be far. We know
I've
that.
already asked Angela for permission to come in and help the kids.
Dave,
Boy, that's a tough act to follow. Mine's really just an FYI. The season of spring testing is nigh upon us. Actually, it is upon us because we did 11th grade ACT testing today. And we also did 10th grade pre-ACT testing. So those are two, the ACT for 11th grade is a state-sponsored test. This is the second year of that. So our students were working hard with that. When we're back from spring break, we have the first week without testing, and we will begin testing on April 9th, the week of April 9th, and we'll continue testing through the week of May 7th. So testing on just about every day in just about every grade, grades 3 through 12, could be 3 through 12, depending on high school and end of course tests. So it'll be a busy month. That's about it.
may I ask, the Washington trip is earlier than it's ever been this year. Why do we choose to go with it so early?
They schedule it around spring break, so they usually do it those 3 days around spring break. And pretty much after April, after that second week, we're testing. So we're scheduling all these trips. The schedule now in late April and May, because as soon as testing's done, you've got 4th and 5th grade, 3rd, 4th, and 5th grade taking their spring field trip. I think 1st and 2nd grade may go a little earlier, but it's a scheduling nightmare.
Yeah.
So, and 6th grade goes, do you guys know, Alexa, do you know when 6th grade goes?
Teen Friday, usually in May, Teen Friday.
Just
So-
wondered. I'm telling my son, you're taking hat and gloves. He's like, I won't wear them. I'm like, well, I don't care, you're taking them. And, I'm gonna stop on the way home and get him a rain pouch. He's like, I am not gonna wear that, Mother. I said, well, just keep it in your bag. I said, and I'll get your friend one too, just in case they think it's cool. He's like, none of my friends are gonna think this is cool.
Yeah, I mean, there is that chance of weather when we schedule these things, and sometimes the weather's great and the cherry blossoms are out. I mean, I think it was a trip several years ago that they went in the snow and, it was pretty cold.
Will your son wear a winter coat?
no.
Pat,
I have just a couple of things. First of all, we were here for the Clean Streak, so I wanted to acknowledge how incredible that was. Javette and I were down with a lot of the folks down in the preschool, and the families that showed up and young kids coming in to clean was significant. We did a lot down in the preschool, so it's the first time I did the preschool
Yeah.
with them, and so your wife was taskmaster and got everything organized, but
How well I
they,
know.
she did it with a smile though. But it was really a neat experience down in the preschool. And so the kids who helped and the families who helped really made a significant difference down in the preschool. So I wanted to acknowledge that. And again, Project Unify, just to support that as well. I know a lot of our parents whose kids are playing. You know, a lot of them attend Broadmoor in the LEAP program. And so how much it means not only as a high school, because it does really unify the kids, but how much it means to those parents and those kids. It's something, they get a little wound, you know, because it's a lot for that day, but what it means to those parents and the kids is significant. You know, some of our kids play in the Broadmoor Bobcat basketball games, and they love that. But being able to be home in their home school in front of their peers, you can't quantify and you can't really pick words for what it means to them. So whatever we have to do to keep that going and keep it fresh, you know, because we have new kids coming up each year. We had a couple of the 8th grade kids who will play next year. They came down for the game and spent the day with the high school kids. And it just is like, it's inspiring. And they were like, well, I'm not doing that. You will. By next year, you will. So I wanted to reiterate the significance of that day. And also about the mental health crisis that we are having, not only in Madison, but you know, I'm all around the county, and so there's multiple districts who are really struggling with this. And so I've talked to Angela. In the future, we have a few ideas, some opportunities to consider. So I think once Angela and I have an opportunity to come up for air, you know, over spring break, then there's some ideas we have on some ways we can meet some of the needs of our staff and students in order to try to make a dent into the significant need that our kids have. So we'll keep working on that.
Thank you.
Ready for my recommendations?
Yes.
All right, first is the personnel motion. We're asking you to accept the following resignations. To accept with regret the retirement resignation of Michael Betts, bus mechanic, effective December 31st, 2018, after 30 years of service. To accept with regret the retirement resignation of Sally Jo Rogas, North Elementary School principal, effective July 1st, 2018, after 51 years of service. To accept with regret the retirement resignation of Dolores Cameron, North Elementary cafeteria manager, effective July 1st, 2018, after 32 years of service. To accept the resignation of Christine Weisbarth, latchkey coordinator and South Elementary cafeteria monitor, effective end of workday March 16th, 2018. To accept the resignation of Kayla Collins, latchkey assistant and North Elementary playground monitor, effective March 30th, 2018. We're asking you to approve the following unpaid leave. Matthew Rhodes, part-time technology support specialist, from February 26, 2018 through April 19, 2018. We're asking you to enter into the following employment contracts. Following persons for the positions and rate and compensation and other terms. Substitute teachers is approved by the Lake County Educational Service Center and/or the Madison Local School District Superintendent under a 1-year limited substitute teacher contract for the 2017-18 school year. Kimberly Petrick and Rachel McHenry. The following persons as casual day-to-day substitutes at the board-approved rate of compensation effective 2017-18 school year. Vicki Barrett and Glenda Miles. The following persons as latchkey substitutes and at the board-approved rate of compensation for the 2017-18 school year. Kesley Kincaid, Christine Kiesler, Sheila Snyder, Kathy Tepley, and Shelley Trampty. To employ Terry Collins under a one-year limited contract as latchkey coordinator at the rate and compensation of $11.50 per hour for 4.5 1-hours per day on scheduled latchkey days for the 2017-18 school year, effective March 19, 2018 through May 25, 2018. To employ Melanie Renicky under a one-year limited contract as latchkey leader at the hourly rate and compensation of $9.35 per hour for 4.5 hours per scheduled latchkey days for the 2017-18 school year, effective March 19, 2018 through May 25, 2018. To employ Nancy Nelson Bratz under a long-term substitute contract from March 7, 2018 through May 26, 2018 to perform the duties of Jeff Greer. To employ Amy Granite under a long-term substitute teacher contract from March 5, 2018 through March 23, 2018 to perform the duties of Melissa Argy. To employ Marilyn Crane as North Elementary building substitute at a rate of $100 per day effective March 19, 2018. To employ Eric Thomas under a 3-year administrator's contract as Madison Middle School Assistant Principal effective August 1st, 2018 through July 31st, 2021. To employ William Mayer under a 3-year administrator contract as North Elementary School Assistant Principal effective August 1st, 2018 through July 31st, 2021. To employ Amy Markajon under a 2-year supervisory administrator contract as Literacy Specialist effective August 1st, 2018 through July 31st, 2020. The following non-certificated person under a 1-year limited personal service contract for the 2017-18 school year, Tyler Kogar, show choir choreographer. And we're asking you to approve the following transfers. To transfer Patricia Davis from a 6.25 hour per day special needs assistant at North Elementary School to a 7.5 hour day position as building secretary at North Elementary School effective March 5th, 2018, and to transfer Tracy Gortz from 6-hour special needs pre-K assistant to a 6.25 hour position as special needs assistant at North Elementary School effective April 3rd, 2018.
I'll move.
Second.
Any discussion?
I would like to add that, well, you know, I've talked about Sally. I'd also like to talk about Mike Betts. Mike Betts has been a mechanic in this district for 30 years, and his passion for taking care of our buses is equal to Mrs. Rogas's passion for the kids. He really takes pride in that fleet. The reason why he gave us this retirement this early is so that we could hire somebody so that we have 2 new mechanics going through inspections together for the first time under somebody that's been through it and knows the fleet as well as he does. So I just wanted to say that. And also, Lori Cameron has been a dedicated food service employee for 30 years in this district, and you know, she will be missed.
Mike, the part-time technology person isn't gonna create a problem with the technology department, is it?
No, we still have a summer worker, a seasonal worker that we were getting ready to sever. That when this happened, we knew it was going to be a long process, so we kept him on
Okay.
to take Matthew's place, and then we'll see what we need to do when Matthew gets back to work.
Okay.
Roll call?
Sean Douglas,
Yes.
Michael Howry,
Yes.
Michelle Hayes,
Yes.
Gene Sensi,
Yes.
vote is 4-0.
Okay, this is just the annual renewal of our inter-district and intra-district open enrollment policies. Even though you re-adopted all the policies in January, it's always good to do that because the state has a requirement that I have to fill out their survey this week or before the end of the month. And I just like to reaffirm these policies prior to doing that.
I'll move.
I'll second.
Any discussion? Roll call?
Michael Howry,
Yes.
Michelle Hayes,
Yes.
Gene Sensi,
Yes.
Sean Douglas,
Yes.
vote is 4-0.
Next item is a resolution recognizing and honoring our students selected for the Madison chapter of the National Honor Society. And this year, there were 61 juniors from the class of 2019, and I'm trying to see how many seniors. And there were 4 seniors that were inducted.
I'll move.
Second.
Any discussion?
Congratulations to all of them, and also congratulations to the parents, including our own Mr. Douglas here. Congratulations.
Thank you. I'm not going to abstain either. Roll call?
Michelle Hayes,
Yes.
Gene Sensi,
Yes.
Sean Douglas,
Yes.
Michael Howery,
Yes.
vote is 4-0.
The next resolution is the resolution regarding House Bill 512. It is the opposition to that bill.
I'll move.
Second.
Any discussion? I think this giant bureaucracy that they're looking to create under, and we already deal with enough difficulties every time there's a new governor appointed, and the legislative efforts to constantly revamp education so that every time you get started under a new theory, you have to get started again under a different theory. To put this under the governor's office is just a horrible idea. At least you have elected officials in the state school board that you could appeal to now. I know the governor has said, well, no one knows who they are. Well, many people don't know who your state elected officials are, but when you have an issue, you can find out who they are, and you can write them or contact them in order to advocate for whatever it is that you think is the right thing. So to put this all under the governor, I think, is a mistake, so that's my input. Any other discussion?
Convinced me.
Roll call?
Gene Sensi,
Yes.
Sean Douglas,
Yes.
Michael Howery,
Yes.
Michelle Hayes,
Yes.
vote is 4-0.
All right, and the next item on the agenda is the school calendar. To adopt the school calendar for 2018-19 and the 2019-2020 school years is found in Appendix A.
So moved.
I'll second.
Any discussion?
I'm excited to have 2 years
Yeah.
done.
Yes.
Well, and you know, this supposable House bill that they have out for this mandatory, it's not going to be mandatory, though. It's to make everybody across the state of Ohio have the same school calendar, but it's not going to be mandatory. You don't have to do it. So why put the energy into a bill anyways if it's not mandatory? So, didn't understand that, but
Legislative suggestion, right?
Yeah.
Roll call?
Sean Douglas,
Yes.
Michael Howery,
Yes.
Michelle Hayes,
yes.
Gene Sensi,
Yes.
vote is 4-0.
And we have 2 items on the consent calendar. To approve a contract between Madison Local School District and Excusia Rehabilitative Services for licensed occupational therapists to perform the professional duties during the maternity leave of Lynn Bearden, beginning February 27th, 2018, and enter into a consultant services contract with Vince Primer as Madison High School basketball coach effective December 1st, 2017 through March 23rd, 2018.
I'll move.
Second.
Any discussion? Roll call?
Michael Howery,
Yes.
Michelle Hayes,
Yes.
Gene Sensi,
Yes.
Sean Douglas,
Yes.
vote is 4-0.
Now open the second public participation portion of the evening. This would be on any item that someone would like to address the board. If you could please stand and state your name and address. All right, seeing none. Is there a need for executive session?
I don't have any.
I had intended on an executive session for us to have an evaluation discussion. However, with Board Member Larry Armstrong not being here, I'm guessing we're going to move that back one board meeting.
Okay.
Is there any objections to that?
No,
None.
that's fine.
Okay. Is there a motion for adjournment?
So moved.
Second?
Any discussion? Roll call?
Michelle Hayes.
Yes.
Gene Sensi.
Yes.
Sean Douglas.
Yes.
Michael Howery.
Yes.
Vote is 4-0.